if you're talking about the best detoxifying program or detox program that is available, nothing would work as efficiently or as effectively as simply doing water fasting. So when you do water fasting, it's just having nothing else introduced into your body except for water. And why is it so effective as a detox program or anti-aging program for that matter? Because the body would actually go for a very effective and efficient rest period if you don't eat anything at all. Water has 0 calories, so if that's the only thing that you'd be taking while you're doing a program, a detox or an anti-aging program, imagine how your cells would react if nothing else, no food, no protein, no fat, no carbohydrates getting into your system. What's going to happen after at least 16 hours of that is that your body would go into a state called autophagy. Autophagy is a condition wherein your body would use up any food sources within 16 hours, and then after that, it forces your cells to look for other sources of fuel. Naturally, the body is so used to, we are so used to using carbohydrates as a source of energy. Carbohydrates can be broken down, and then this would form glucose. Glucose would be the go-to source of energy for our bodies to use. And when that runs out, after 16 hours, the next instinct for the body to do, or for the cells of the body to do, is for it to look for other sources. And the easy source would be to make use of fat as a source of energy. So this is where your body would try to utilize fat instead of carbohydrates as a source of ATP. Cells produce energy by producing ATP. 1 unit of carbohydrate can actually give you 4 units of ATP. But if your body is forced to use other sources aside from carbohydrates, it would actually produce a different type of ATP, or more units of ATP. 1 unit of carbohydrates is 4 ATP. 1 unit of protein is also 4 ATP. But if the body is programmed to utilize fat as a source of energy, 1 unit of fat is equivalent to 9 units of ATP. So if we start to train, or we start to get familiarized with long periods of not having food in the body, preferably this is talking about more than 16 hours. Should you want the body to be able to get into that reparative state called autophagy? Autophagy is when the cells, your healthy cells, would start to feed on unhealthy cells, would start to feed on damaged cells, would start to feed on defective cells. It is an actual self-healing or self-maintaining type of a process. We would actually force the body to go into that autophagy state wherein we have a minimum of 16 hours without food. So imagine if you can stretch this hours longer. Either you go for 18 hours, which would be a more practical way of going for these types of healthy eating ratio. I would always discuss to the guests whenever they're done with whatever program, detoxification program, anti-aging program, weight loss program they are on, when they go home, to get themselves familiarized with what we call the 18:6 healthy eating ratio. If you search the internet, they would actually classify it under intermittent fasting. And intermittent fasting is not probably the right name for it, because if you talk about fasting, it means that you should have no food intake for at least 24 hours. So to me, when you say intermittent fasting, it would be understood as one day you would be eating, and you'd have another day or whole 24 hours of not eating at all. When you talk about intermittent fasting, to me, it is having one day of meals and having a day, complete day, 24 hours without meals at all. Because fasting, from the true sense of it, is having no food at all for at least 24 hours. So if you look over the internet and they say intermittent fasting is 16 hours of not eating anything and 8 hours of window for eating something, that is not the right name or not the right label for it. So for us, intermittent fasting is talking about having days with meals and then having one whole day or more without any food at all. So why do we want to do that? We want to do this type of a practice because we want to constantly trigger your body to go into autophagy. Autophagy is wonderful. Autophagy, once you get your body into autophagy state, it would be able to repair things that are damaged inside the body. Damaged tissues, if you had a previous surgery, getting your body into autophagy state would actually get rid of scars. It would get rid of blemishes. It would help you recover any skin blemishes. It would help you recover any scar tissues. You would notice that if you go for a healthy eating ratio, if you can get onto the 18-6 or even get to a 1 meal a day type of a eating program, you would notice that your skin becomes brighter. Your mental acuity would become sharper. You don't need to eat that much if you can get your body familiarized with a healthy eating ratio. What we usually like to explain to guests is that if you can have 18 hours in a 24-hour cycle to not have anything inside your digestive tract, that can wonderfully trigger the body to go into an autophagy state. And when that happens, your healthy cells would sweep all throughout your system and look for defective cells, damaged cells, or poorly developed cells, and then just recycle them.